Miss Roy's approach with us as students, like going through video and digital media, it's very interesting. Like she drills us and she makes us like to a point where like we have the story that we want, and like we cut it down, we edit it to where it's the important parts that we need. And then she always told us rules like more B-roll is better than none. And she always had this rule, or it was just like her #1 rule, is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that was just something that inside her class it was like religiously lived by. Miss Roy, she was talking to me during lunch this one time, and she turned to me and she was like, "You're working, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was, do you want to do a story?" And I'm like, "A story on me? Miss, I'm not really that interesting." And she kind of turns it on me. She was like, "Everyone has something interesting about them." And that's how Chazz's World was made.
We were struggling on top of rent and stuff. My parents, they had a flat tire in the beginning, so then they needed to buy new tires, and I had $400 in cash on me that I was gonna pay my grandma with. But then I gave it to them because they needed new tires. And then the following week after, they were behind on rent and cable needed to be paid, so I ended up giving them another $800 to support that.
Along with loss of free time, taking on additional jobs takes a toll on a student's mental and physical health.
At first, like I said, I was like, there isn't really much of a story about me, but through like filming and making it, and with the final product, I was like, Miss Roy showed me the final product, and I was like, maybe there was actually a story about me that I just didn't really see.
Because he's been stressed, and I mean, I've talked to him many times about it. You know, we've had our talks, and and I understand, like, he's stressed out and everything. He has all his struggles, and he deals with a lot of stuff.
Despite these struggles, Chazz remains optimistic, determined to finance his family and his future.
You know, that story was about the fatigue, the exhaustion on a kid who should be living the most exciting, fun time of his life. I mean, it must be hard for you to see that.
It was heart-wrenching.
I'm pretty sure Miss Roy told me that like the panel was crying and stuff, and it had like a really huge impact on them. But I'm honestly really I'm grateful that it could have an impact on people, that my story can have an impact on people, and that they can see how things are, not just from like their point of view, but from others that are struggling. And maybe and hopefully it can lead to like solutions to problems that we'll have. And that's just my only hope for it.
Humans are difficult to understand. We have a conscience that allows us to think freely, move freely, speak freely, and we can just about do everything we ever dreamed of.
My state of mind was like, it was all over the place. And at the time, this was after my grandma had passed, so it was just, there was just a lot going on, like a lot of emotions. So there was a lot of like questions that I had for myself, and I was trying to figure it out. Like, and a lot of them was like identity questions, like who am I and who will I turn out to be? Will I become this person that I imagined 5 years ago?
Why do we overthink? It just causes stress and unnecessary feelings to be present. In a few months, I'm leaving for the mainland to pursue a better life. But I'm quite scared. I'm scared that I won't find what I'm looking for, although what I'm looking for does not exist yet.
I think that like creating a story during like a hectic time that I was going through It was actually really beneficial because it was a way for me to like vent and like express how I was feeling and what I was going through at the time. And the fact that I can put it into a video for other people to see, I don't know, I think it's cool. I'm really appreciative of like the HIKI NŌ platform. Like it does give us a place where we can tell our stories, and not just like tell our stories, but we can also grow from them. And it's a way to like connect to others and how we can reach out to one another. And I think that's like really awesome. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and the little bell icon to get notified immediately of the new and exclusive HIKI NŌ content.